Chairman, Mr. Vice President, Mrs. Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, my wife and I are very proud to come to this meeting. Won't all of you sit down? This organization has done a good deal for this state and for our country, and I'm particularly glad that it emphasizes the not only opportunity for all Americans, a chance to develop their talents, education for boys and girls so that they can pursue those talents to the very end of their ability, but also because you remind Americans of the very important links that we have with our sister republics in this hemisphere. One of the things which I have taken the greatest interest has been in attempting to pursue an example which was long neglected, and that was the one set by President Franklin Roosevelt to emphasize that the United States is not only good neighbors, which we were in the 30s, but also friends and associates in a great effort to build in this hemisphere an alliance for progress, an effort to prove that in this hemisphere, from top to bottom, in all of the countries, whether they be Latin or North American, that there is a common commitment to freedom, to equality of opportunity, to a chance for all, to prove that prosperity can be the handmaiden of freedom, and to show to the world a very bright star here in this country, and indeed in the entire hemisphere. So I'm glad to be here today, and in order that my words will be even clearer, I'm going to ask my wife to say a few words to you also.
Estoy muy contenta de estar en el gran estado de Texas y estoy especialmente contenta de estar con ustedes que forman parte de la noble tradición española que tanto ha contribuido a Texas. Esta tradición comenzó 100 años antes de que se colonizó Massachusetts, el estado de mi marido. Pero es una tradición que se mantiene viva y vigorosa. ¡Viva! Ustedes están trabajando por Texas y por los Estados Unidos. Muchas gracias y viva la LULAC.
It really is a pleasure to be back home in Texas to this inspiring, I'm sure it's going to be an inspiring LULAC gala commemorating that historic visit by President John Kennedy. Farm workers. No one in my family had gone to college, but because of the programs that President Kennedy started with the war on poverty, I was able, thanks to Upward Bound, to go to college. President Kennedy cared deeply. He wasn't perfect, but he cared deeply about making this country more fair, more equitable, more just, and more inclusive to those of us who have few opportunities to make it. So it was no surprise that it was here, and it was he, President Kennedy, who became the first American president to appear before a Latino organization like LULAC. Okay, with us tonight, we have Benny Martinez. Yes, sir. And Tina is here with us tonight. Ernest Eguia. Yes. Jim Montero. And Mike Herrera. So Benny, we start with you. What do you remember?
I was sitting at a place where I had a good view of the president. My wife, my beautiful wife, was with me. And I noticed when the flamenco dancers went to dance, you know, their heels are about that big. And when they started dancing, the president was looking at the LBJ. So when they jumped up and stepped on the floor, they stomped on the floor, real loud. And I noticed what the president, is if he had a premonition. That I noticed that, and I said, oh my God, I told Helen, he must have a premonition that something's going to happen to him. I remember that very clearly. I remember that.
And the next day, 15 hours later, you hear that he's been shot.
Absolutely. You know, it's ironic that one day we were jumping with joy, con mucha alegría, con mucho gusto, jumping with joy. And the next day, some of us were crying. And I remember that.
How did he feel, the president, to be in this crowd of so many Latinos?
During that night, absolutely wonderful. It was unprecedented because for the first time, very first time, we had a president address us. Not only the president, but the vice president and the first lady. And there were many other Congress people, very important people. The governor was there, many other people were there. And so it was just fantastic. I felt a lot of pride in being not only a LULAC member, but a Mexican
Jim
member.
Montero, what do you remember that night?
That night I was assigned to be the officer to protect the president with my partner, Richard Delano.
You were a police officer.
Yes, sir, assigned to the Juvenile Division, Houston Police Department. And we were called in that day and told to be at the hotel, meet with the agents to protect the president's going to be there. We don't know how long it's going to be there, but to be there and receive instructions, which we did. And of course, we were told what was going to be in the ballroom. And when the president arrived, at that time we thought he was going to just come in and say hello to the crowd and wave him goodbye. But then we observed that his wife was with him, Jackie Kennedy, and the vice president, Lyndon B. Johnson, Lady Bird was with him. And then the governor was there also, and so was Steve Short, my chief. And so we went head on in, and of course when the people saw them, everybody got excited and elated and sort of yelling and waving and all this kind of stuff. And when they stepped in there, Jackie said something to the president, and they came on in.
Jackie?
Yeah, so she sort of mentioned something to him. We were watching, and they went on in, so they decided they wanted to stay a little bit instead of just saying hello and leaving. One of the things that I was told to do is to make sure that the crowd was in control, be aware of anything unusual, something out of the norm, and to take action because they didn't want anything to happen. But it was not going to happen that night. Everybody was happy. Everybody was full of love and joy for the president and Jackie Kennedy mostly. My only problem was Tina. I couldn't keep her away. She kept getting closer and closer, and she kept telling me, get down, get down. I said, I can't, I got to protect the president.
One thing that I want to say about that evening was that President Kennedy spoke just a few minutes to us about the Alliance for Progress, and which was fine and dandy, but then he introduced his wife, Jacqueline Kennedy. Mrs. Kennedy spoke to us in Spanish, and like Benny just said, there was a hush of silence. Everybody just kind of kept quiet. And after she finished, the crowd just erupted in applause, and there were some tears because, once again, the Latinos, Mexican Americans here in Texas, we were being recognized. That's the way I saw it. We were being recognized.
Finally.
Not as second-class citizens, but as Americans.
Your reaction the next day when you heard the news?
I was in Dad's office, getting ready to board a bus to head to Austin for another event there. And Dad was winding up some affairs there with some clients. When a friend of my brother's, gone to school with my brother, this young man was an Irish immigrant, and we called him Irish. Hey, Irish. He was married to the secretary of the young lady in the office next door. He comes in and he says, Mike, turn on the radio, turn on the radio. And I look, turn on the radio. I go back into my dad's office and he had the credenza in the back of his desk. And he was talking to some clients and he looks up at me and I just went back and I turned on the radio. News came on. Sadness.
I remember Tina just about a week ago told me to my face, you are the last man standing. I am. I'm the last one standing, but I'm standing on the shoulders of maybe 250 to 300 World War II veterans. Thank you for that. You see, when we returned to Houston in 1945, the World War II veterans came to Houston to find that we were still third grade citizens. They are the ones that changed the face of Houston, because back then, I don't know if any of you remember, because everyone here is younger than I am. And we did not have a single police officer or fireman or anybody working in City Hall that was Hispanic. And it was those veterans from LULAC Council 60 that made it possible to change that here in Houston. I am proud. I am proud to have been one of those 300 guys. But let me tell you that the evening of November the 21st, 1963, I was standing on the left-hand side of the door, Gilbert Gomez on the right-hand side. The president came in, and I could not reach him, but I saw him about 3 feet away. And they came in like, I guess, all crowds do it all at once. The crowd here, there must have been about 300 people, maybe more. You couldn't put a toothpick between them. There were so many. But there was nobody here that did not have a smile on their face. They were here to listen to a man that was charismatic, that was popular, intelligent, and everybody loved him. Everybody loved his wife. When they passed through the door there, I saw this guy come through that I hadn't seen since 1935. He was the Vice President of the United States, Lyndon Johnson. He was a teacher at Sam Houston High School when I was a student there. I was not in his classes, but I saw him many times. But I'm proud to say that those people that came in, President Johnson and Lyndon Johnson, they changed the world for us. And when I say us, I mean everybody, not just Hispanics, for everybody. Those people were real leaders. Lastly, I want to say that I am proud to be a LULAC member, particularly of Council 60. I have been a member 66 years. And I don't believe there has been a council in all of LULAC that has had better leaders than Council 60.